I want to go through a bunch of the GTA 6 locations, where we're going to be playing this game, what cities, where is this game going to be based. There are a lot of different leaks and theories as to where we're going to be going, so I want to go through a bunch of the main ones here. Obviously, most notably the Project Americas leak, and then also a bunch of other leaks subsequent to that, and then some other general theories as well. So leaks and theories, I'll tell you guys which one is a leak, which one is more possible, which one isn't as possible, and I'll just go through everything just to put all of the possible locations out there so we could talk about in the comment section which ones we would rather go to, where we would rather play, the settings, other stuff like that. It doesn't really matter. I'm more worried about the actual cities themselves or the countries as to where we're going to be playing this game, because obviously that's a huge part of our enjoyment. So let's start off here with the first legitimate leak we had for GTA 6. This is the Project Americas leak, and this sort of outlines a bunch of the different locations for this game. So if you want to check out anything that I'm talking about, I will link it all down in the description below, but let's get started. So this GTA 6 leak is no joke. Posted on Reddit, user Jack-O-Lantern1982 has posted a lengthy bullet point list about what is apparently included in the next Grand Theft Auto game, including the fact that it's set across multiple decades, deals with the rise of the drug cartel, and is set partly in Vice City. And then we go on here. This is just a little pointer about GTA. The next GTA title has been in development since 2012, but production didn't properly begin until 2015. But even then, the team was more focused on Red Dead Redemption 2. So I just wanted to add that in there because it does give us an idea that maybe they haven't had as much time developing this game as we thought, and that would presumably bring the date back a couple of years to 2021 and maybe even 2022, which would suck, but it's definitely possible. I mean, I think we'd rather them focus more on the game and really fine-tuning it instead of giving it to us early when it's not fully developed, and then that would result in a terrible launch, and that just would not be good for the community. So let's just get onto the locations here. Codename Project Americas, set in both Vice City and a new fictional location based in Rio de Janeiro. Some linear missions take place in Liberty City, but it isn't an open world location. Think Londendorf in GTA 5, and that's actually, if you don't know what that is, North Yankton from GTA 5. I'll just play a little clip of that. When you go there, it's a closed off area. You can't really go to much of anywhere else. It's sort of open world. I mean, you could drive around the streets there, but at least in the GTA 5 story mode, it's not open world. It's just that main mission, and then that's pretty much it. So that's how it's going to be with Liberty City. So pretty much the main game would be between Vice City and Rio de Janeiro, just based off of this leak here. Now, there is another leak. I mean, a lot of these stem off of the same leak, but this is actually laid out in a more detailed description. It says here major cities: Liberty City, Vice City, Rio de Neve, South America, which is Rio de Janeiro, Republic of Castellano, South America, mix of Bolivia and Colombia. Now here, it goes into detail a bit more of the exact locations, and Liberty City, if it's only going to be a couple of missions, not an open world area, I wouldn't consider that a major city in the game unless they actually do open up Liberty City so we have a certain portion of the city that we can, go in an open world area. So maybe just, Manhattan as it was developed back in GTA 4, just bring that back, and that's pretty large enough to be a substantial portion of the game. And if it's just the story mode, wouldn't consider that a main part of the game. But here are some of the minor cities as well. So People's Republic of Del Castro, Central America. It's a fictional Central American island based on Panama and Cuba, so that'd be pretty cool. Another island location there. And then also Mexico limited area, so a little portion of Mexico, probably the coast of one of those areas, maybe a bunch of the Aztec culture, so that would definitely be pretty cool to see as well. And I think those general areas would make sense. So you're in Vice City, and you could probably take a boat, like in the actual game. If it's an open world game, you could probably take a boat or even fly a plane across, the Gulf of Mexico to these different areas. So the People's Republic of Castro, and then this little Mexico area on the coast, that little island, and then between Vice City, and they'll scrunch it all together because in real life, it's a pretty pretty far distance, but in the game, all of those areas brought together onto one single GTA 6 open world map would make sense, and then Liberty City obviously wouldn't really fit there, way too far for it to make any sense. So that's why I guess it does make sense for Liberty City just to be some of those storyline missions that you can't really roam around. It's just a one-off thing where you go there in the middle of the story mode and then that's it. So those are the main leaks, and I think as of now, most of the people and a lot of the leaks that we've been seeing even now, they're running with that general consensus. We haven't really had any major leaks that goes against that, but there are other theories as to what we're going to be seeing here. One of the more far-fetched sounding rumors is that GTA 6 will be located in all of America. However, when considering the rumored power of the PS5 and the new Xbox consoles, it isn't as unlikely as it seems. Consoles become exponentially more powerful every generation. This means that new consoles won't just be capable of 2 or 3 times bigger maps, but 10 times or more. And it goes on to say, a diluted version of the United States would tick a lot of boxes. It would allow settings of all types and keep the entire fan base happy. Furthermore, it would create excitement and hype never before seen in a video game release. So I think this is a theory that has been going on for such a long time, and it's one of those big theories that people just talk about, and you're just like, you know, what if the next GTA is just the entire country? And you could definitely do a lot of stuff with that if you have a different cities in between. So it's not like you're going from Los Santos to Liberty City and there's nothing in between. You would have a lot of different stuff. You would have Chicago, Dallas, Texas, maybe a setting on Nebraska, somewhere around there. Like, you could do a lot of different stuff, and you could cover so many different parts of the country, different sceneries. It definitely would be probably one of the coolest things they've done. It doesn't necessarily need to be such an insane map. Obviously, the whole country sounds like a lot, but if they just do certain parts of it and then they connect it with some highways, they could blend it in fairly well, and that definitely would be really cool. I don't know, I feel like that's the best thing we could see, but I think for most people, they would rather, you know, the game focus more on a certain location, or at least a couple certain locations, because I guess you can make the argument, okay, if they're gonna do the entire country, there may be this lack of detail. So although we have like 15 cities and 10 different states, within those 15 cities, most likely you would have less detail because it would just be so much to work on. And maybe if you're picking a single city, if we go back to Vice City, they could definitely revamp it and do a lot more just focusing on that main location. So that's definitely an argument to be made there, but I do like the idea of the whole country being used and all parts of it being used in different ways. One of the more touted rumors is GTA 6 being set in the UK, specifically London. This would be the first time a GTA game has ventured outside the United States since they were last in London in 1999. A London map would present a completely different theme to the game and could be a welcome change up to recent titles. However, once again, much like Vice City, the downside might outweigh the upside. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I think of is I don't want to drive on the wrong side of the road the whole game. Obviously, in GTA, you're not driving. It's not like you're always paying attention to the traffic laws and driving in the lanes and stopping at red lights. You know, most of the time you're not doing that, but it definitely would be a weird flow to see everything on the opposite side because it is London. But London has a lot of cool scenery, a lot of different stuff, and as a setting overall, it would be really insane to see. A bunch of other stuff here. Some of the GTA fan base might not like a game set in the UK, and this could alienate a portion of the GTA community. Conversely, sticking with a location that is tried and tested will guarantee success in sales, albeit at the expense of something different. Going to say here, Dan Houser, a head writer at Rockstar Games, told The Guardian that GTA probably wouldn't be the right franchise for Rockstar to tell a UK-based story with. GTA London was cool for the time, he said, referring to the original Grand Theft Auto game. He continued, but games were more limited then. These days, I think we would love to have a game set in the UK, set in London, whatever, but I don't think if it would be a GTA game. So regardless of how cool it would be, the setting and everything, it most likely isn't going to happen. They pretty much confirmed there that, you know, we're just not gonna do London, you know, maybe for a different game, but for GTA it just doesn't make sense for them to do that. So that's just probably off the tables here. Now the last thing I'm gonna talk about is Chicago, and Chicago would be a pretty interesting. Crime and gang warfare is well documented in Chicago. A GTA game based on the Windy City would provide a new location to the series and provide an excellent backstory. While not the most glamorous, at least in comparison to parts of Los Santos, a Chicago map would allow you to live through what it's like to be a gang gang member, it probably isn't a front runner with safer alternatives, but it's an option that shouldn't be disregarded. Now, that is definitely a good point. I think with Chicago, it does sort of seem like a boring pick. I know Chicago has a lot of lore. There's a lot of stuff you could talk about, a lot of violence there. I mean, Chicago is known for so many murders, so many, gang violence, attacks, and crime in the streets. And the city also, the main part of the city, is also very nice as well. It's actually a cool looking city. They could definitely do a lot of different stuff, and it probably would be a really nice game. But I think GTA 6 only being set in Chicago wouldn't really be the best selling point. I think if it was a portion of the game, so if they did America, the whole country, and then Chicago was one of the cities in the game, that would be really cool. You can explore certain elements of it, but a whole game based just in Chicago, I'm not so sure about. Although, like I said, it would be really cool, and there's a lot you can probably have. You could probably have a really sick story based just in Chicago. Now, at least within this article, they talk about Vice City and Los Angeles, obviously Los Santos. I'm not going to go too much into this because we already know Vice City is the main leak here. And then Los Santos, it was just GTA 5. And, maybe there are rumors that we may go back for at least a portion of it. But I think it's almost guaranteed that we're not going back to Los Santos. Maybe there are going to be some references. Maybe it'll be a one-off mission where we go back to Los Santos. We play as those characters just for one mission. But other than that, I think as a main location, Los Santos is just not going to happen. We may revisit the rumor. We may talk about what they could do to change it up for a new game and how they could change the different portions of the map to make it interesting, blend it into other locations, add San Francisco, do what they did in San Andreas. Maybe it's a portion of all different California-based cities. But I think right now, that's not the safest bet here. And Vice City, obviously, is the main one that we've been talking about. Reimagination of that, or at least a portion of it being within this game. So let me know what location you want. I mean, something we didn't talk about, an area that we didn't discuss in this video. Let me know down below where you want GTA 6 to take place. And yeah, see you guys later.